Okay, just for the purposes of the assignment, I'm stating that I'm using Existential, and then we can begin. Okay, so how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking.
Okay, so what brings you in?
Well, I guess I'm not really doing pretty good, or I wouldn't be here, right? I mean, that's really to be honest. I mean, look, I'm just struggling with a lot of stuff right now. My mom passed away of COVID in March, and I mean that's it's been a year now. I'm just realizing that, like, wow, a few more weeks it'll be a year. And she was in a nursing home. She has Alzheimer's, and they locked the nursing homes down. We couldn't visit, and you know, she died. Uh, and they called me and told me she was dying, but wasn't able to go there and be with her, and no funerals at the time. So it was just a weird time. The whole weird thing with my mom. I took care of her for years. She lived with me for years after my dad died, until I couldn't really handle the level of her needs with Alzheimer's anymore. And so, a lot of guilt about that, and having to put her in a nursing home. Yeah, and but fast forward, you know, to like Christmas. Uh, so it was nice, right? Like we finished our semester before Thanksgiving, I think it was,
Mhm.
and we I didn't get a break because it was just uh, nothing to do during those holiday times but to handle my mom's business that we had been putting off forever. So it was like secessions had to be done, getting all of this, information together, making sure the estate was all the bills were paid off, and my sisters, like, because I'm here and they're there, and like in Lafayette, and I'm doing everything on this end, and there's the pressure to get her house fixed up, to put on the market, and a state sale. And I mean, here we were for Thanksgiving, and literally we were cleaning her closets out,
Wow.
and it, it wasn't a good time. And that just went straight on into another semester, and I just don't feel like I've even like recuperated, and it's just affecting everything. It's affecting my ability to like buckle down and do what I have to do. Yeah.
So you mentioned working through all the estate things. Is that piece complete now?
No.
Still working through that?
No, like I don't like, because we were hoping to get it all done before the semester started,
Mhm.
and like for Mardi Gras, what was I doing? I was out there working on her house, and you know, she basically, every penny that she had was used up in her care. And thank God she doesn't have any, like, we don't owe anything,
Yeah.
you know, but we don't have any money either to like, uh, in her house needs a little bit more stuff. So we're all putting up our personal money and keeping track of it to get the house. We had it appraised. So that was the last thing, but we can't put it on the market till we get like some more repair work done. And it's a big piece of property. It's like 2 acres in a house. And so, it's, and the sad thing is, like, it's three houses down from me. So that it's always there to remind me, like every day when I pull up, I see it. And it's like a constant reminder, like this big old albatross is still around my neck, and it needs to be, sold, we're paying utilities and that kind of stuff. And, there's a lot of, uh, it's, no, it's not done. It's always there.
How does that tie into the because in the initial description, I guess, you
Mhm.
did talk a little bit about not being able to be with her at the end,
Yeah,
and, not being able to fully care for her at the end.
yeah,
But now you've kind of transitioned, to talking a lot more about the technicalities of when
yeah,
someone passes. So
yeah.
I'm just wondering, how are you feeling about the emotional side of thing, or is it now kind of all tied together?
No, it's yeah. I'm a very emotional person. Uh, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. Most of well, I guess I can hide it, but I'm not scared to cry in front of people either. Uh, and I have a lot of feelings. I'm sad. I'm hurt. Uh, sometimes I want to blame like everybody else for everything. Uh, I just don't think there's this big old sense of it. It's just not fair. It's just not fair. Uh, when I get a text from my sister and I'm in the middle of like school,
Mhm.
and I get a text from her like, uh, what's the next step? What are we doing to, and I'm like, you're over there, I'm over here, I'm in the middle of class, leave me alone. But I love her, and she loves me. I mean, we're very close, but it's like, I don't know, it's tough.
Since you are here and the house is right next to you, do you feel like maybe you've got the lion's share
No, I know I do.
of the responsibility?
Yeah, I know I do. I've always had the lion's share of the responsibility. That's just a fact. I mean, my mom lived with me after my dad had lung cancer, and he passed away in 2015. And I took care of him to the end. And my mom was already in the beginning stages, and I knew something was wrong with her. So I had power of attorney uh, for both of them, and she moved in with me because she couldn't live by herself. She lived with me for 2 years, and I mean, I fed her. I mean, not just me, like my wife. We fed her. We took care of her. We got her to appointments. We did everything until finally it just got so bad. I finally spoke up and said, "I need some help here." But they didn't have a clue. It's like barely visited. I think it was easier for them. I'm not blaming them, but I think it's just easier, out of sight, out of mind. Then, my mom went over there, so they came and right away and like took her home with them to Lafayette, and that lasted like all of 2 months. And then it was like, let's find a place to put her. And then when that didn't work out, it was like, well, let's move her back into her house over here. So which we did, and hired 24-hour sitters. So once again, I'm the one having to go over there, you know, do all the logistics with the sitters every day, meds, all of that, pouring out about $13,000 a month in expenses, until it was gone. And then it was like, okay, now we have to do a nursing home. And, so yeah, I've always had the lion's share.
So is
And,
that where some of the you made a statement earlier about saying it's not fair.
hmm,
So what was
yeah.
that in referencing, I guess?
Oh, man. I guess I see other people going on, like when my dad died. And, well, even like, I'll give you an instance, like my father in law. When my mother in law died, like since she died, he's been remarried twice. Like, and he's like going, just he's like in his 80s, and he's just enjoying life and having a good time. And like my mom, she didn't have, like, she couldn't even grieve properly. because she didn't even really fully comprehend that my dad had died.
Mm.
And then I became my dad to her. And that was all. And so, like, her friends, like, I guess they just couldn't really bear to see her like that. So they just gradually disappeared. And, I go to funerals and I see all these people remembering a life. And my mom didn't even have that. We did a memorial service uh, in November where we were finally able to like just go to the cemetery and uh, say goodbye. But it wasn't. So yeah, it's just a deep sense of I guess when I say it's not fair, like that's what I mean. Like life is, and I know it's life is not fair, you know. But
That's true.
she just it just hurts that she didn't have that. She didn't even have a social network left to remember her life besides us, her kids and her grandkids. You know, it's disappointing. I mean, not, I don't know if disappointing is the right word. Hmm, I guess it is the right word. I'm disappointed. I am disappointed. I'm disappointed at some of her friends, you know, that weren't there. So yeah, I have so much to let go with this. I don't want to be a bitter person. You know what I mean? And I guess sometimes, like, if I could blame other people, then maybe I'm not blaming myself. But then again, why am I blaming myself? I did everything I could, but then couldn't I have done more? You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we always we always question things, um, especially right now with all the interesting things that we have to do because of COVID.
Yeah.
That absolutely changes everything.
Yeah, I mean, it does. So much different mixed emotions with all of that stuff. I mean, because it took my mom's life in the end, but she would have died anyway. I mean, her body was shutting down. She was forgetting how to eat. You know, she she would like. I think the last time I saw her was 2 days before they locked, like they closed the nursing homes and didn't allow any visitors to go in. And I know, like, I fed her, and like I literally have to take her mouth and move it, like, cause she
Yeah.
to like kind of prime her, and she'd be like, okay, now I know what I'm supposed to do with this. you know. So it was a matter of time, but still, I guess when I look at that, like, yeah, it does take lives, but I also want people to keep living their lives, not to live in fear. You know.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So I mean, it it all affects me. Like it's all in there.
Um, I guess one of the things I was thinking about is when you mentioned, her social network.
Hmm.
She didn't have much of a social network left
Yeah.
to kind of remember her, or that kind of reminds me of the meaning, I guess, that we leave behind when we move on.
Mm,
And do you feel like that's part of her memory, has still having people here to keep that alive, I guess?
yeah. Yeah. Because she was. It. It's hard to. It's hard to remember two moms. 'Cause there's only one, but the one that's fresh and the one that like hurts is the one that that was like consumed with dementia and Alzheimer's. But before that, she was a firecracker, you know, spoke French before she spoke English. She was a Cajun, and she could cook and she could sing and she was competitive and she lived for her grandkids and that like that seemed like it was forgotten, you know.
So almost like losing her twice in a sense.
Mm. Yeah, we
Well,
did lose her twice.
you mentioned two
That's
moms, so
yeah, yeah, we did lose her twice. We lost her before we lost her.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, good point. Yeah.
And that's hard when someone is still there in body, maybe,
Mhm.
and in spirit, but they're just not who they were.
Yeah, yeah. Even like little things like things she once loved to eat. Oh, oh, I hate that. Ugh, that's nasty. Like what do you mean? You know,
Yeah.
it's like I remember the first time I took her, like when my dad died, I knew something was wrong with her, but I didn't have like a definitive answer. But I knew it was probably like dementia, Alzheimer's, something like that, because just, the way she would. I remember the first time we really recognized, and my dad covered for her. My dad hid it, and she put catfish in a gumbo. So we like eating the gumbo, and all of a sudden there's like fish floating in it. And I was like, Mom, you put fish in your gumbo? And then she got like mad, like if I want to put fish in my gumbo, I'll put fish in my gumbo. So it was like we knew something was up then, you know. And when I went to the neurologist with her, uh, and I had the power of attorney, and I said I want to know what's going on. And so he told me, like he showed me the CAT scans and everything that they had done and the MRIs, and he says your mom has Alzheimer's, and uh, she hadn't started any medications yet because I mean we didn't even know, like, I guess. So I don't know why they weren't treating it when my dad was still alive. But anyways, they ask these questions. It's kind of like a mental status exam, It is a mental status exam, I guess, in some ways. And they ask all these questions, and I'm sitting there listening, and my mom was still like very functioning, And it's like, what am I holding? You know, what am I holding up, Miss Norma? Uh, I know what it is, but I just can't say it. Uh, just like looking like I'm sitting in the wait, I'm sitting in the chair in the exam room. Um, what city do you live in? And she says Ville Platte. Like, Mama, you've been in Schriever for like 60 something years, you know? Uh, little things like that, and then like when what season is it? And she didn't know what a season was, and I just, tears just started running down my cheek. And that's when we started losing her. Yeah, it just gradually got worse. Yeah.
It's it's so hard. My mom also was an extremely fiery Cajun woman,
Mhm.
just kind of larger than life, and then she she had something different, but it was a very quick turnaround like that, and she covered a lot of things up.
Yeah.
And it just really, this lady was my rock. She was my,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
to see them turn around and become the vulnerable one,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah. And I mean, mom lived right there, like, so it was, she was just two houses down, mom and dad. I mean, I've been, me and my dad were in business together, so we were together every day, and mom watched our kids, like she babysitted before they started school, and that, so very just close. And so yeah, and like I think often, like every time I look over there, and I've talked to my wife about it, like, I don't know if I don't know if I can even stay here, you know. I wanted to keep her house and property. I thought about doing that, like buying it, buying my sisters and brother out. And I was like, well, financially, because I'm still in school, I don't know if that's another thing. I'm already still paying for my house. I don't know if I want to take that leap. And then, my brother-in-law, who I'm very close to, like he's my best friend, he's like, you know, you need to let go. You need to let go. I'm like, yeah, but I can let go, but I still gotta look at it. And I mean, I've been on. I grew up there. I was 4 years old when we moved into that house, and
Wow.
so, and I'm 55, so I've been on that street for 50 years, and I'm gonna look over there, and somebody else is gonna be there, and I don't know. You know, I'm prepared to even move if it really becomes that uncomfortable, but hopefully I'll just let it go. And one thing, that's one thing, like when we did the estate sale, I thought it would be hard, but
Mhm.
it was actually pretty awesome to see people get excited about taking a piece of my mom and dad's property and like rehoming it. Like I didn't think I would feel that way, but when just to see people get excited, like, oh, I love that piece of furniture, and oh, I'm gonna love this, like I was like, oh, that's cool, you know. So that was,
It's almost like another way of them continuing on.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Somebody's going to take that little piece into their family,
yeah,
use it, love it,
yeah,
whatever it may be, furniture or whatever.
yeah,
And it's like those pieces continue
hmm,
to have, they're continuing to have an impact on people, even though they're gone.
yeah, yeah. I had one of my friends actually that bought a lamp or something, and she sent a picture of it in her house, and she said, like she showed like the before and after picture with it and how good it looked, and she was like, this like it's perfect right here. It's like, oh, you know, that was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's like it gets a new life.
yeah, yeah. But I'm just tired. I'm emotionally tired. Yeah, and it's affecting my education right now. I mean, I'm still doing good. Don't get me wrong. I maintain good grades. Got a 4.0, and man, that's important to me, and I don't want to screw it up. Uh, but yeah, it's affecting like my organization, and I'm usually so organized, and like usually like these assignments would have been out the way, early. So,
How is it affecting just your organization in general, with everything or just school?
no, just school, really, because like uh, where I work at, it's very
Mhm.
structured. In the morning, like when I work in addiction counseling, I have responsibilities that boom, they have to be done. And when I'm very like when I get in there, I'm organized. I'm up from the time I walk in the door to the time I leave. I've got a day planner. Uh, I go to I do Dr. Sonier's class, and I got a day planner. I know exactly what I'm doing when I'm at Nichols, and then so that's all like perfect. But then, like and then uh I run. So like that's a daily thing for me. That's like my outlet, I guess. So I run every day. Uh, and but then I'm exhausted and I'm like, and it's like so overwhelming. And I'm like, okay, I'm procrastinating. Maybe I can take a 30-minute nap. Uh, maybe I'll be on Facebook for an hour instead of working on class assignment. Just anything, anything mindless.
To give you a break.
Yeah, to give me a break. And I mean, I haven't had a break. Like I did 2 undergrad degrees. I started grad school, and I I I went from I went from graduation to the summer semester in grad school. Like I went from, you know, like a 2 week break between graduating and starting, and I haven't taken a break since. So it's been a long journey. I mean, I've been doing it since 2015, and without a semester off. Like I've never taken a summer off. Family went to Disney World, and I stayed home to do school.
That's some
Yeah, it's like
serious
I'm
commitment.
yeah, I'm just but I have to do something. I have to do something to get myself back on track. Like as far as this semester. I mean, there's time. I know what I have to do.
Um, just kind of looking back over, the amount of focus and continuing work that you've been able to put into things, even when there's so much going on. What is it that motivates you?
Mm.
What in the past has helped you keep going like that?
Well, I'm a very driven person, like goal oriented. Marine Corps veteran, so like discipline. Uh, I thrive on like accomplishments, pushing myself uh, to keep growing. I don't like to be stagnant. I don't know. Is that answer which I mean? What?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just kind of curious about some of those inner resources, you know, that you
Mm,
rely on.
yeah, I mean, I want to
Mm.
be. I guess sometimes maybe I want I want to accomplish things that they mean a lot to me. Like, uh, I went straight into the Marine Corps from high school. Probably should have went to college instead, uh, and then done both of them. Going to like I could have been an officer. Uh, I love the Marine Corps, uh, but I always regretted not having that college education. So I spent my life like working by the sweat of my brow, and manual labor, construction. Then me and my dad built a company and did all of that, but finally, like, I couldn't. Like, this is what my body started giving out. you know and it's like I just want to challenge myself to get this degree. And mental health was like a big curiosity to me, uh something that like challenged my worldview
Mhm.
and made me realize I was wrong about a lot of things. And yeah, so it became a passion of mine, and it still is. Like, so definitely where I want to be. Definitely what I want to do.
So it's
I mean,
that.
it's not just to get a degree to say, "Oh, I've got a degree." Oh, I got a PhD. No, like I really want uh, to help and make a difference in veterans' lives and people with addictions' lives and people struggling with depression, anxiety. I don't care what it is. People that are grieving. I just want to help. Yeah. So that motivates me.
So you've said that when, something has meaning for you,
Hmm.
it's motivating.
Yeah.
That's how you kind of keep on track
Yeah.
and have that passion and interest, and like you have this desire to help people, and you are helping people
Yeah.
already with the work that you're doing.
Yeah. Uh, I guess I used to be a little different. Maybe I found I wanted to do something maybe that impressed somebody else or was, like, well, look at me, look at that. But I mean, shoot, I'm 55. Like, I'm done with that. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. Like, those things are not important. I realize there's more important things, you know?
Yeah, we kind of change our worldview a little bit as we get
Mm.
older about what is important to us,
Yeah.
the things we've experienced, the things we've seen other people experience.
Yeah. I think we just grow. It's like living, a living, breathing thing.
Yeah, it is. Um, and I think I can definitely understand, there's a point where people say, let things go, let things go. You still have to kind of feel it, work through it, and get done with it in your own time.
Hmm.
And I think sometimes you can let things go, but like the house being right there, it's hard
Yeah, it
to
is.
have something, especially something physical, that evokes those feelings there
Yeah.
all the time, especially when it becomes more of a monument to something that you don't have anymore,
Mm.
then
Yeah. Yeah, it's a constant reminder. I mean, it was like honestly, after my mom died, and that's another thing. Like it's 2 acres. I cut all the grass, like, cutting grass and every week, out there cutting grass. And really the place, like, it kind of was like, I let it go. I let it go. I didn't have much help, but I let it go. And there was some rotten wood and the flower beds all just like got out of control. And so that was one thing that we did as a family for the holidays. My brother came down, he lives in Oklahoma, and like he just like, okay, let's grab the bull by the horn and go. And we just like we worked on the outside the house. We painted it, we cleaned it, cleaned up the yard, did all the flower beds and did all the repair work on the outside, fixed all the rotten wood. And so it was good, to see. And the neighbors, like my neighbors were all like come and help out and everything. And so it was kind of like a good time, but it was a tiring time. It was like there was no celebrating things. Yeah, we had Thanksgiving meals and we had Christmas, but you know, my sister's like cracking a whip, like, okay, Thanksgiving meal's done. Let's get back out there and work. We only got so many days. Like, I just want to sit down and rest. Like, I just finished intro to practicum, like the hardest during class you'll ever take in the program.
that's an absolute fact.
Yes, you know. So
Do you feel like you'll feel any more rested, or like you can have some downtime when that's resolved? The house, the estate, those kind of things? Because it
yeah,
sounds like you haven't really had time to process the emotions fully because you literally don't have time.
yeah, yeah. Uh, I mean, I grieve. I'm not a person that like holds on to grief.
That's good.
Like, uh, I'm not gonna like dwell, like I'm not the kind of person that's gonna be like, oh, it's the fourth year anniversary of this and like balloons. Like that's not me. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but like I am able to let go. Yeah, I am still like I do get choked up when even as we talk, it's emotional for me to remember. But I don't have to remember, and I don't like dwell on it. It's just that thing right there, that house over there is like it's like this huge boulder that's in the way that needs to be like done, and I don't want to deal with that. And it's it's like a shadow over everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm excited that like we're planning a trip as soon as the semester's over. Like we're gonna go to Florida and spend a week. We got a condo, and we all going. Like my kids are all gonna be there. My son is married, him and his wife, and my daughter is gonna be her senior trip, and her boyfriend's coming, and my other son and his girlfriend. So it's gonna be a great time. So I'm looking forward to that. And then like I'll get back and I'll start the summer semester again.
At least you have a brief reprieve there.
Yeah. Well, I only have two classes left. Like besides internship, I just have two like actual classes. So shouldn't
Thank
be too
goodness.
bad.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you have a pretty solid, uh, I can't even think of the word I'm trying to say. Sometimes Zoom is not my best friend.
No, it's not. It's not as authentic as we can be, but
Yeah, but
I
because,
get you.
you know,
Mm.
um, yeah, I just, I would really like to sit in a room with people, and I too am Cajun, and I would like to do this a lot, and do this, and
Yeah.
she's probably going to watch my video and be like, no,
No, you're great.
but it sounds like you just keep going and going and going, and no wonder you're tired.
Mm,
No wonder
yeah.
you're tired.
Yeah. And it's not, and I'm not even mentioning like all this like civic organizations and stuff that I'm involved in.
Whew.
Yeah.
But it also sounds like you're, from what you said, you don't do things halfway,
No,
and
that's, I try not to.
you don't do things unless there's meaning and passion behind it, and that's kind of what keeps you going.
Yeah.
So we're always a lot stronger than we think we are, I think.
Mm,
But even
I
even
agree
the
with that.
strongest person needs a little rest, needs a little reprieve.
Yeah. Need to figure that out. Need to figure that out.
What would that look like for you if you could ideally get a little break? What would that be like?
Mm. First of all, it would have to look like everything's done, like that needed to be done. Like I would not be able to really relax anywhere knowing that I still have some unfinished business. And then if that so that would look like the house is sold and that's what that would look like. And the semester is done. And then it would look like the Smoky Mountains. A cup of coffee. And maybe like a swing and a cabin in the mountains. That's what it would look like.
That
And like
sounds fantastic.
no schedule, like no tourist traps, just, you know, I love the mountains. Like
That sounds
take me to Gatlinburg and I'm happy. You know, put me in the mountains somewhere there and I'm ready to go.
that sounds fantastic.
But the beach will be nice too.
That's
So
true.
hopefully that'll be done by the time we hit the beach. Otherwise, I'll be sitting on the beach guilty about what I should be home doing.
Thinking about what should be going on instead of
Yeah, I don't know if
what is.
I don't think I like ruminate on it. Like I'm not sitting there on the beach going, "Oh, I should be," but it's still there.
Yeah, it's always back
It's
here.
that
Like,
shadow. It's that shadow. Yeah.
well, is there anything else that you would like to talk about
No,
before we?
it's good to just like unload. Yeah. So I think like this does a lot of good too. You know.
Well, I thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it.